All right, so you got Mercury retrograde coming, right? I think it begins tomorrow, if I'm correct. So just be mindful of things that come back around. You're going to revisit a lot of things. And remember, we walk away from things and we fall forward. We don't go backwards. And so lately, I've been having issues on everything I post, right? Everything I post, no matter where it is, it's being critiqued, right? And you could look on people's pages and you can see what they like and what they repost, and then you could go through and read comments if you really wanted to. If you had that much time on your hands and you're that much of a loser, need I say more? Anyway, so I start noticing, right, on my pages, like all the critiques, right? It's the same person. It's the same energy. And it's like really nasty and like really aggressive. Like you could just feel the vibe coming off of it. And it was familiar. It was a familiar vibe. And then it hit me. It was one of my old bosses that was narcissistic. And at the time, I didn't realize he was narcissistic. I thought he was a friend of mine. I've come a very long way from being as naive as I used to be. And it's funny because I could see that he was poking at old wounds that he used to poke at. But see, here's the thing. I healed those old wounds, so they don't hurt anymore. He used to be able to exploit those things because I told him everything, because I thought he was a friend of mine. I would bring gifts in, I would bring treats, food that I would make for him, and I was always talking to him. And I would ask him too. A lot of times this guy was he was horrible. He's a horrible person, and it's sad that after all these years I changed and you didn't, because it's been 4 years since I left the place, right? And I left the place because of him. He would bully the hell out of me. And back then I was going through a lot, and that says a lot about somebody's content of character if they could bully you out. Because when I started there, I think it was like right when I started there, it was a few weeks in and my grandmother passed. Or no, it was a few months in, because I started there May, right before she passed. And she passed, right? So you've seen me lose my grandma, you've seen me go through that. And before I had my breakthrough in 2018, I was a very different person. No emotion, very icy, very cold, because I had learned from a young age to stuff my feelings down, and I've mentioned this in previous posts, right? So I had thought this guy was my friend. Little did I know he was narcissistic and he was just trying to hurt me, because I couldn't believe people could be that cruel. And the stuff he would do would be like, I'd be in tears. I would leave in tears. And there was like no emotion about it. Like he had no regret, no remorse, because I would tell him things like that my mother would do to me when I was younger. And I would tell him like really personal things because I trusted him. Because what a narcissist will do a lot of times, they'll mimic your traits back to you that are good, that they like. And they are very scary with that because it's almost sociopathic in a way, like how they model the traits and they'll mimic it back to you, so you become attracted to them. It's like a Venus flytrap, like, you know, it's sending out that sweet smell so that you get stuck in there and it snaps right on you. So yeah. And he would torture me, and I would let him, and that's my fault. You know, you got to take accountability for things in your life. I seen a post where a girl was complaining that she wasn't responsible for the people that she lets in her life. Yes, you are. I was responsible for that because I would keep going back for more. And it was, you know, he was very cruel, very nasty, very wicked person, and just miserable with life and the life choices that he decided he made. Like, and that's the thing. If you make a life choice, don't bitch and complain about it later. Like, you know, there's certain responsibilities that come with certain paths and certain choices. Take accountability. You made that choice. Like, if you don't like it, then change it, right? So anyway, he would tell me things, and I was going to school when I was there after my grandmother had passed, right? I was going through a lot. I was going to school full time. I was putting myself through school, paying out of pocket. I was going for clinical lab science. And he would go in on me because he had owned a business and thought he was better than me because I was a waitress at the time. And he would tell me, like, basically that I was nothing. I would never amount to nothing. It got really bad, like, when my grandfather got really sick. And it was, like, fun to him. Like, I don't understand how you could see somebody going through so much and that be fun to you. Like, fun to you. You see somebody in so much pain because I was quiet. I was very quiet for the longest time. I didn't express what was, like, bothering me. And a lot of times they would be okay with giving me extra work, and I would be okay with taking it because I just take it. And a lot of times, a lot of places, that's what would happen. I would expect them to regulate because you see I'm taking on all this work, and people like that, they don't do that. They take what they're takers. They just take from you. There was even a point in time where they didn't have anybody to work, and I worked for them without days off for a month straight, maybe longer than that. And I even asked him at one point in time, I'm like, so do you think I could get this day off or something? And he would like be like, oh no, I tried and I can't. But I think it was just because it was me and to make me suffer. Because like I said, like I would ask him. I asked him one time, and I even asked his brothers, and I asked him, I'm like, why do you pick on me so badly? I'm like, I don't understand. You're nice to, because that's what a covert narcissist does. They're nice to other people so that when you tell that they're not being nice to you, they're like, no way, that's not true. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, why do you pick on me so bad? Like, I thought, and you can't reason with these people. There's no reasoning with them. They don't have normal brain patterns. So I'm like, why do you do it to me? Like, you see, like everything, like, because he would make me cry, and then I would tell him, like, my mom would do that when I was little, and then she would go, well, why are you crying? You act like, and I was little. I was a little kid, and she'd be like, you act like you're big and bad. She's like, but you're really not. So that's why I would stuff my stuff down, because I was taught that way, that having feelings was, it makes you vulnerable and people will hurt you. So he would do that if I would get upset. And like at that time, I could not speak like how I needed to. Like I would get like this lump in my throat, and I couldn't get out what I needed to get out. So communication was a problem, and I would just feel that lump, and he would look at me and think it was funny and be like, oh, what? And then after like that, I was going through a lot, and my grandfather was sick. My grandfather had gotten sick. I was going to school full time. I was taking care of my grandfather by myself because my family abandoned us until it was the moment to come and get money. They wanted no part of it. And then they were fine to even like grab all the cash. I got nothing. I got nothing from that. Nothing. They said that they would give me something, but I got nothing. But anyway, it's neither here nor there. They'll get theirs for that. Yeah, so he would do stuff like that, and like I'd leave in tears, and he had no remorse for it. Like you could see there was just nothing. One time when I had my breakdown, it was because he was going in on me, my sister was going in on me, my mother was going in on me, my grandfather's dying. It was a lot. It was a lot for anybody to handle. And I was talking to him one day about how he was treating me, and I kind of seen him smirking, and I was just floored by that. I'm like, no, I imagine that because he would gaslight me too and be like, no, you're too sensitive. You're too sensitive. I shouldn't. But he would be really, really mean and like have the other coworkers and probably be telling the other coworkers thing, because I had one of the cooks refer to me as a racist girl. So he would go back, like the little wuss that he was, and like tell people things to like sabotage me, like, and so that they would treat me poorly. That is just like some kind of person, I tell you.